Welcome to the Bug Hunters Cafe. Have a seat anywhere.
Thank you, Marta. Good morning, Jason.
Hi, Boyan. Heads up, we have produce emojis materializing in here today.
How's that? Oh, something hit me in the head. What is this? An avocado?
Like I said, apparently the unicorn accidentally impaled Marta's phone. On the upside, it's fresh. Want an orange?
I want a helmet.
Actually, the avocado's pretty ironic since we're meeting Cheuk. She's a developer advocate. After having a career in data science, Cheuk Ho now brings her knowledge in data and passion for the tech community into Terminus DB as the developer relations lead. Cheuk constantly contributes to the open source community by giving free tutorials on Twitch, organizing sprints to encourage diversity contributions, working with conferences. That's how I met her, actually.
What's it have to do with avocados?
It's a running joke online. Developer advocate is often abbreviated developer avocado with the emoji. Like that.
If we find a couple of onions, we could make a guacamole.
Oh, there she is. Cheuk, we're over here.
Hey, hi. How are you?
Have a seat.
Hey.
Watch
Good.
out for the falling fruit. It's,
Oh
a bit
yeah, I
dangerous
see.
in here today.
Like, are they specialize in avocado or something? Oh my god.
No, that's the unicorn's fault, actually. It's,
Oh wow.
yeah. Hey, can I get you anything? The coffee's on Soft Terrific. They're the ones who sponsor these talks.
Oh nice. What's the specialty in this place? I would just have that one then.
They have a lot of specialties today, but I think the special today is probably fruit related.
Oh my god, like avocado coffee or something?
I don't know. How would you do avocado coffee?
With unicorn smile on top of it.
Yeah, that would work. Okay, I will have that.
You want a refill on your espresso without any coffee there, Boyan?
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
my favorite kind of espresso. Chuk, first time I saw you on the conference in EuroPython 2 years ago, I thought myself, how can somebody have this much charisma? And how can
Oh.
somebody have this many tractor jokes?
Thank you. I'm just like, that's why I love the Python community. People are so like, full of humor and we love joking, and that's why I really loved it. So yeah.
Well, also, there's the thing that you're on every conference imaginable.
Oh yeah, it's just my excuse for claiming some travel expenses, I think.
All right, here's your espresso without any coffee, Boyan, and your avocado latte. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but it's
Yeah. Just
what
put
they
loads
got.
of sugar, that's fine.
Oh yeah, it's probably got enough sugar to keep you going for 3 days in there. But
Cool.
That's excellent.
one question I've been wanting to ask, and actually I've kind of been asking this a lot lately because I'm realizing there's all these subspecialties in the programming world that I actually have no idea what they're about. What exactly is a developer advocate? Because I keep hearing the term and I don't know what on earth it is.
Yeah, funny enough, I found that the kind of industry of developer advocate is similar to what I experienced before when I was a data scientist. So people ask me like, "What do you really do?" And it's a difficult question to answer because it's very broad. Like this term, because it's first of all, it's a very new kind of job title, I guess. Like it was called something else in the past. Of course, there's always people doing these things. For example, there's always people doing statistical thing for data. Like or like if people are trying to help developer or promoting some tools as well in the past. But having that as a special, as a special division of the industry or a special role, that's something very new. It's something recent. So yeah, I got a lot of question about like what actually do you do, and like and it's a bit difficult to explain sometimes because I think in different company there's also different definition for the role as well. So for my company, since we are a startup, so I think when I started, there's a lot of things that I would be doing basically. Mainly to understand what the users need and just to get how to get the community engaged with with our product and things like that. So, but I think in different companies there may be like more like a special requirements. I know that some company maybe they ask their developer advocate to be give X number of talks in X number of conference, or write X number of posts, blog posts, or in a few months, or run X number of tutorials, workshops, things like that. But yeah, so our role basically cover anything that you can think of. Like these people that you see, these crazy people you see at the conference, like they may have this funny title, developer advocate. So their job is that if you have question about their company, their product, you can ask them. They are happy to help, or they can point you to some right materials. They could be content creators, creating all these amazing content. They could also be someone who could just talk to, like in the forum or something. Or they could be, also cross over to community manager. That's another role that also again is some new role, that they organize meetups, they organize events as well. So yeah, it's very broad. It's really like no definite answer, but I think the main goal for us is to connect the user with the company, the development team. So the product will be more like user driven. I think that's, especially if you're an open source product, you also want to engage the community in the development as well. So yeah.
That makes sense. So basically, it's a lot of communication, maybe even more than a standard development role would involve, whatever, however a company would define it.
Yeah. And also one thing that I really love doing is that I can get a lot of chance to talk to a lot of people. And also also got a chance to maintain the library as well. So I kind of like, I can't choose between the two, right? I can't choose between like just go to give talks and and doing none coding, or like just coding but not going anywhere. I want to do both. So yeah, I think it's a good balance in this kind of role. So yeah.
So, if I understand this correctly, basically, development advocate is the person who decided to take one super hard area of expertise, such as programming, and combining it with another super hard area of expertise, such as working with people, and
Uh,
then just do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, you could look at it this way, but I think that is more like, yeah, because again, like developer advocate, we all come from different backgrounds. Some of them are more like maybe more technical because they come from a more tech background. Some people, they are more, more like a people person. They may be working in other field, that marketing, or or education, or that they would have more, more experience dealing with people. But I think, yeah, we need both skills in team in general. If you look at it as a division or an industry, then you need both. So yeah, so a lot of time it's not a one man job. Like if we, like it's a more established company, they usually would have a developer advocate team or developer relations team. So yeah, won't be one man's job. Yeah.
So it's something of a nebulous role, a little bit like the term DevOps, or a little bit like the term full stack developer. It really depends on who you're talking to. It has different meanings then, in a way.
Yeah, I think that always, again, like it's a merge of, like it's kind of filling the gap in some way. Like I think if you look 20 years ago, that is not a thing, right? So yeah, so I think it's something that is evolving, and we see that there's a gap there in the industry, and like we need someone who fill the role to fill that gap, and to to work in that area. So yeah.
Speaking of industry, I had the opportunity to meet quite a lot of dev advocates that told me you're the one who got them on that path. You were doing mentoring with them, counseling, and helping them start. So, how does that work? How do you create an army of developer advocates?
Right. So I think one quality of I may be like just talking about unicorns, but anyway, so yeah, like one quality I think that developer advocate is that, like, we love helping people, because like we have to help. One mission that we have is to empower developers, right? So So if there are developers who maybe want to start using your product, and then you want to help them to get started, so they become an expert in it, right? So I think it applies the same to like if people, they want to start, their career in DevRel or working in things like that, and it's easy to find people who would love to help. There are communities there. It's not something like, I think if you compare to the data science community, like I think my it's my opinion, right? It may not be the same for everybody, but my opinion, like my experience is that like the data science community feels more like a myth, like something that, oh, these people are super smart, and then like you look at them and it's difficult to be a part of them, and then you have to work really hard to be part of them. But I think for DevRel, like maybe it's the nature of the role that people are very willing to help, and then you would, if you want to get started, you just need to meet one very friendly developer advocate, and then they could offer some tips, offer some help, and so yeah, I think it's well, of course there's also very like a lot of friendly people in data science that's happy to help as well. I got a lot of help from the community. That's how I got started. So yeah, but for me the comparison is that because of nature of the job, that people are super friendly in the DevRel world. So yeah.
So, as a developer advocate, and I guess I could even expand it and say as a data scientist, you probably deal with different sort of bugs than, say like a library developer like I would. Like I'm oftentimes mucking about in memory issues and weird esoteric crashes, and you probably get a different flavor of bug in your line of work.
Yeah, I would say that for data science, a lot of like kind of bug would be actually limitation, like you said, memory, like how to be more efficient, so we can run this, supercharged algorithm on my local computer rather than a super node on the cloud or something like that. But yeah, like for me, I think now a lot of time I'm trying to test our own product. Yeah, actually it's a team effort. It's not just like a role of like a developer advocate, but the whole team is like doing testing like a lot because we want to make sure, we're a small team and everybody just need to help to test. And then so there, yeah, the bugs that I kind of encounter is different, maybe because our product again is young, so they're like we still discover people using it in a way that we are not expecting. So like we'll be like, oh yeah, that's a very good use case, and we know that we have to fix something for them to use it that way. Um, so yeah, like and also a lot of time the bug is not, I'm not like first hand to experience the bug myself. I'm like, someone in the community reported, in the channels, they told me like, oh, how to do this. So some of the time is like, oh, maybe they didn't do it right, so we guide them to the right tutorial or like help them to solve their issues. But sometimes they discover some bugs that we will be like, oops, yes, we will fix that in the next release. So yeah, yeah, so it's, I think I can see more bugs like in my current career, I would say, but not firsthand because I'm kind of like talking to a lot of users as well. So sometimes it's secondhand bugs that people ask a question and then, oops, that's a bug. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually running into a lot of that myself. So apparently there's another role that you mentioned, kind of doing something and discovering it was effectively a developer advocate, and I have been involved in the MailSpring project. Excellent little email client. Little, they've got a pretty large user base. Anyway, but I'm the volunteer community manager over there right now, and it's a lot of fun. But apparently, open source community manager is a thing, with a capital T, and it's interesting because it sounds very similar to what you're describing. Because I think there's a little bit of developer advocate mixed in there for me as well. Because I'm working with a lot of people from the open source community who want to be able to help work on the code or develop plugins or themes for it, as well as just the user community as a whole. And there's a lot of bug auditing. I mentioned, I think on some prior conversations that I'm currently mucking through 1.1 thousand issues in the backlog. Most of them are duplicates, but I'm going through there, and it's I made a determination walking into this. I am not going to use the phrase "won't fix" because I know that there are bugs that resolve over time. There's bugs that are some really bizarre edge case, corner case that we
Yeah.
just can't fix. But then there's also some things that you can't reproduce on your machine, but it's there because email clients. It turns out, email services are really weird because we have the IMAP and SMTP standards and nobody really follows them correctly. And so there's all of these weird situations that keep showing up and it's just weird trying to figure out, okay, which of these are real and which of these have resolved. And do you run into a lot of that where you have to, like, is this bug legit, is this stale, is this something we can actually do?
Yeah, I think I feel the same for, like, on GitHub you have that like label that's won't fix, right? Like those I think it's a bit harsh, when you report an issue, you hope that, or maybe, in the next release I can work it, I can do my thing, but and then they said, "Yeah, no, nope, sorry." Then you feel like, oh, it's like a arrow to your through your heart, right? Oh, it doesn't work. But I think, yeah, like, again, I think it's just that whether the team put the effort in that special area, like, cause I have a feeling, like I said, we have a small team, and then we can't just spread ourselves too thin. We have millions of ideas that is brilliant, but which one go first, which one is more important. We do have a roadmap. I think having a roadmap is a good thing, even for open source projects, because then your community will see that, okay, what's coming next, or is the thing that I've been waiting for, will we eventually get there, or if I want to help, like, where should I put my effort in? So having that is important. So I think rather than won't fix, you can basically put it in somewhere, at the back of the roadmap, is a backlog at the bottom of it, just like let it hang there. Maybe we will review it after several months, a year, and then if actually that become relevant, then it will become relevant. So there's still hope. And also, like, for open source software, there's it's a lot of time is like driven by the community, right? So if enough people found that that's something that they have concern about it, then it will become a more important issue, and maybe there will be a solution. Someone brilliant will come up with an idea that solve the issues, or maybe it become irrelevant anymore because technology advance and, like, people don't care about that after a year or 2 years. So who
Yeah.
knows? So
Yeah, I actually, what I wound up doing, I stole this idea from Facility, the makers of Fabricator, is we set up a discourse forum, and I am actually going through all 1.1 thousand issues. I'm auditing each one, and I'm moving the valid ones over to discourse. Like, I'm actually manually migrating them.
wow, that's lots of work.
And yeah, it is. I'm down to 350 left to do out of 1.1 thousand. So yay me! But I find that that's really helpful to be able to figure out how old is this, and has there been a lot of because sometimes one or two people reported in 2018 and then there's never any more conversation about it. It's like, I think this is resolved, or nobody cares. And then the nice thing about discourse, we have it set up so people can vote, and so people can upvote the bugs that they want to see fixed and the features that they want to see implemented, and so that allows the popular things to rise to the top, and we can discuss the roadmap over there. But it doesn't seem to matter what you do, because everyone always assumes that the bug that they report is the only one you have to do, and you literally have nothing else to do with your life. It's like, it's been 3 days, why hasn't I actually encountered that, it's been 3 days, why haven't you fixed my bug already?
Yeah,
I'm looking at it going, how what 3 days, how are we supposed to do this?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, like, when I am on the user end of the the chair, then I would, like, if I found a bug, if I Google it and then see that there's a GitHub issues that's been hanging there for a few years, there's some discussion and then some workaround. Like, if I'm lucky, right, I found, like, someone post a workaround there in the issue, and I'll be like, okay, I'll give that a try. But if if it's still hanging there, it's not closed, and then there's no other solution, then I won't be angry or anything. I just found, oh, tough luck, that was like, because it's not necessary. You're using something for free. It's not like they don't have they don't have the responsibility to fix it for you. That's what I
They
understand.
don't.
Yeah, like, I mean, well, of course, if I'm the creator of that, I feel that I have, I own it, right? So I want it to be better. I care about it, but it's not like, it's not that I've signed a contract and I promise that this thing that I have created and posted on GitHub for free would work perfectly, right? It's dedication, and if I'm not selling it, I don't feel like, sometimes, times goes on, there are people who unfortunately have to abandon the project, maybe because their life situation change, and then if luckily someone pick it up, that's great. If not, then it's just that this project is gone, and it happens a lot, like, so I think, yeah, so sometimes, like, I won't be angry if, like, someone don't fix the bug for me or anything, because I don't feel like I understand, like, I don't feel like I have to pressure someone to do that. Like, if I buy something, if I buy an application from a company, of course I expect that this application is worth the money, right? But if it's a free software, it's an open source software, then you can either look other way, you can either look whether there's something that can also do the job. If not, then maybe you think that maybe you can fix this stuff, and it still save your life, like, rather than building the thing from scratch. If you take it and fix it, and then if it works, then yay. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot of time, like, in the open source world, is it's more like, understanding, and yeah, and whether, yeah, I think people are sometimes being too harsh in general. Yeah,
Yeah.
to put it,
Well,
in
I
short. So
think most of the time we kind of lose empathy and forget there is another person on that line. Like,
yeah.
those people
Yeah.
have lives.
They do, and even sometimes when I think services make it more complicated too, because like you mentioned Chouk, like if you pay for software, you expect it to work, but there's actually a profound difference between paying for software, donating to software, and paying for a service connected to the software. Because if you're paying for the software itself outright, sure, it's pretty reasonable to expect it to work, the way you want, and but the like one of the tricks with this Mailspring project is like it's $8 a month for the premium services. You can use Mailspring the client for free, but they have some premium services on the cloud. And the number of people that say, well, I pay $8 a month, so I should get premium support. And I'm thinking, $8 a month is barely covering the cost of the APIs and the server that we're using. Not to mention the huge, very expensive audits from Google and what have you, to be able to continue accessing these different email services. And it covers that. And so I look at this and someone's like, you're getting paid $8 a month, you should just fix this. And I'm thinking, developers get paid more than $8 a month. This is being able to fix bugs, because I keep telling people as the community manager is like, hey, Ben, the project owner, who is fantastic, is like, this is an independent project. He's doing this in addition to a full-time job. And that seems to be like a shock to some people. And one person actually said, well, then it's not a viable business, you just shut it down. And I'm thinking, that's not how this works.
I don't like this, so nobody should use it.
yeah,
Exactly. So I think it helps for users to remember that bugs are difficult, and even when we want to fix a bug, it's like well, what's taking you so long? It's been 2 months. Well, this is a really snarly bug that involves rewriting half the code.
yeah. I tend to fix problem myself. That's why I love open source software, because people come up with workaround, or fix it themselves. Like all these things that which in a closed source software, then it's more difficult to hack it, right? To find a workaround. So I still use some product that actually it causes trouble from time to time, but it's open source. I just I know what I'm getting myself into. I just know that, okay, every time I have to do this, to or look at some forums. I love problem solving. That's why I would be like, if I work for a big company, for example, they will have the IT support team, and this, I was like, no, I don't need that. I would be my own IT support. I can fix my own computer. Give me the password to the administrative user, but of course they won't do that for you. So yeah, yeah, I can fix it myself. It's just I need the admin account or something. But They was like, no, you have to wait, create a ticket and wait for 2 weeks, and we will fix it for you. It's like, no.
No, maybe you can fix the fruit problem in here with the unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working for a big pharma company as a subcontractor, and they were using Internet Explorer 6 on their machines.
Whoa. It's an archaeological site.
Yeah, and you couldn't access. You have to be in virtual LAN, and from that virtual LAN, you had to connect to another virtual LAN, and only then you could access the machine, which was Windows. Basically, you got the remote Windows desktop. And the question was how to get files because you need to deploy some changes on that computer, and you couldn't do it. So I had a bright idea. I'll just put it on WeTransfer or RapidShare, whatever. Turns out most of those websites actually require JavaScript or anything else produced in the last 20 years.
Oh,
So I
no.
opened the ticket. Can you please install Firefox on this machine? And they organized a meeting in 2 weeks. And after those 2 weeks, they decided to have another meeting to evaluate security risk. In the end, I didn't get it. I just had to create my own web server and upload it there so I could download
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Hi, Bug Hunters Cafe. Marta speaking. Oh, yes, we are open 24/7 at bughunters.cafe. You can also find us on Twitter and Dev as Bug Hunters Cafe. Yes, we also have snacks in addition to coffee. Fresh fruit? You could say we have more fresh fruit than usual. Mangoes? We might. Hold on. Has anyone seen a mango yet? Never mind. I found one. Yes, we have mangoes. I'll set it aside for you. See you soon. I hope no one asks for watermelon. Hey, Unicorn. We need to talk.
So one of the things that concern me the most now is the spider mites. They are actually a pest for indoor plants. So because now it's like still a bit cold in UK, and it's getting warmer, but it's still a bit cold. So I'm worried about my indoor plants most of the time from spider mite. So I'm thinking about buying their enemy and then kind of release them in my terrarium, and then they will be my army to face them. But I've also heard other ways. You for example, grow some herbs or grow some garlic or chili next to your plant. So have this symbiotic relationship. So this protect the other ones. But I'm not that advanced yet. I don't know which plant can go with which plant. So I think having my biological army would be will be my way to.
I'll buy a praying mantis and name it Valgrind, I think.
Yeah, and what I'm worrying about is not the bugs. Like I worry about in summer when you start to have fruits, the birds will come and because I grow my stuff in the balcony, so that my number one enemy is the birds, other birds. So yeah, I need to get some bird scared. Well, not now, but when I maybe late summer or something.
My
Yeah, we blame you, Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
You know what should you do? You should get a giant tarantula. That scares pretty much everything. Probably the birds as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll see what I would put it in my arsenal. So.
So what is the weirdest bug back into software? What is the weirdest bug you've ever encountered?
Weirdest bug. I have a very funny story to tell. Actually, it's Python related. So, I think last year I forgot when, but like we tried to release something on a Friday, and then Friday, right? You just want to first of all, it's not a good idea because like Friday you'll be like, I want to just go get it done and go out, but I don't know, but. Anyway, it happened, and then I was like really trying to get the release so then I can start opening my wine and beer or whatever. And then there is a problem with the virtual env running on Travis or something like that, and then it's just the error message is super weird as well. It looks like some spelling mistake, Yeah, I think it's spelled. I forgot, like Python or something. It's spelled like pastron or something like. So it's something like pastry or something. And it's like, is it a joke or like what happened? Like, is someone hacking the virtual env? Kind of what's going on? So and then my colleague and I was like, okay, I think, because and then I look at it. It's like, okay, so I think that virtual env just make a release. And then I think this bug was introduced in that release just 30 minutes before we do our release. So and then that's why our Travis fail, And then okay, then we go to the Travis, GitHub repo, and then there's an issue that is like made, 20 minutes ago or something like that. Everybody was complaining about the same thing, and then their co-maintainer say like, oh, sorry, like Friday release is not a good idea. I have this stupid like spelling mistake in in the code, and then they quickly fix it, thank God. But it's just funny because like we found a very tremendous, virtual env. Everybody's like depending on it, and then we experienced that firsthand with everybody else that's panicking on GitHub on that GitHub issues and all this like, and then people will be like, oh yeah, if you roll back one version before it will work, like, and then but yeah, it got fixed. So but that's funny.
Yeah, I saw that bug report actually. I just kind of tripped over it because someone on Twitter mentioned that. I saw it. It's like, oh my gosh. Although I can't mock too much though because I have this testing library called Goldilocks, and I'm dyslexic, so I have a hard time sometimes with working on the screen, and I spelled Goldilocks GOLID, which is really hard to see when you're dyslexic. And apparently I've been working with this misspelling for something like 2 weeks. And I had no idea because I had been just dumb lucky. I had misspelled the file name and I had misspelled the name of the file in the CMake lists at the same time. And anyway, so I was like further down the dependency chain, and I'm trying to get this to link to something else, and it is not linking. And I'm pulling my hair out. I'm like, what is going on? I'm in there. I'm debugging I'm looking for bugs at CMake. I'm looking for bugs in everything. And and then for a moment the fog cleared, and I went, it's not spelled Goldilocks. And then I realized that I had misspelled the name of the repository, the file, the project name on Fabricator, the file name in the CMake lists, and several comments and an import statement.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there going,
you are not alone.
Wow, I really need to put this in my spell check.
You are not alone. I think I have similar experience because I think if people who watch my stream like before that know that I always misspell things. I don't know whether maybe I'm also dyslexic or because of it's my second language. Like I always misspell things, and like that's why I love copy and paste. And also and also every time I pip install, I make sure I would Google the library that I'm going to install, and then like just copy that, pip install that command, because I don't want to misspell the library name, and then install a malware or whatever. That's also my tip for beginners, because you thought that it's called Panda, but actually it's called Pandas, and without an S it could be something else, so so
Typo squatting.
Yeah, I always Google and spell check are my friends, I guess.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the setup. Yeah. Your setup.py file. When you're putting those dependencies in there, making sure which is one more benefit of having the requirements.txt as well for your developers.
Yeah.
I had a question at a talk I was giving, and someone said, "Well, why don't you just use requirements.txt to populate the setup.py file?" And I said, because they're two different audiences. The setup.py is for your end user, and your requirements.txt is for your developers. And the whole point of having that is so they don't have to install everything to be able to develop on the code. They just, install the requirements.txt. But they're two separate environments, and you don't want to just use one to populate the other, because your versions might be different, or your tooling might be different. You might have all optional stuff in there.
Yeah. We can spend a whole day talking about this. I mean, there's so many tools to help you set up your dev environment and all this stuff. So yeah, I think the more I discover, the more I'll be like, oh, okay, I can try this tool, but then you have millions too to try out, and then like and then you just like sometimes you just have to stick with one and just force everybody in your team to use it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is why everybody in my company uses poetry.
yeah, poetry is quite popular, I know. But I think
I've never used it.
oh, really? I started using.
Yeah.
I started. I think it's well when I started. Poetry is not that popular, and I used virtual env, virtual env, pi and virtual env. Yeah, and then like now nobody used. Everybody's using poetry, right? And then and I feel that I'm very outdated.
Yeah, as soon as I said I didn't use poetry, you saw the smile just kind of drop off Boyan's face. It's like, I don't think we can be friends anymore.
No, I was just trying to rephrase. So basically said I was using poetry before it was cool. So that would make you the first hipster on our podcast.
Ooh, wow! You're the early adapters.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool.
absolutely. So what is it with poetry? I mean, what makes it awesome? Because I keep hearing about it, and I keep sticking with setup tools, not because it's awesome, but because it's well documented. It's a well trodden path.
Well, for me, it's basically once I do all the setup, I can tell to a developer run poetry install or run install dev, and that's all. It will set up everything for you. Create
Hmm.
virtual environment, everything. It will take care of the versioning, everything. You
Yeah.
just have to enter one command, and then you can do your work. Nothing else. Don't have to worry about anything.
So when you start your project, it's also like like Django init, right? So it will initialize your project for you, is it? Yeah.
Yes,
So that's if you love Django, you will love poetry, I guess.
I love fast API.
I
Yeah. Yeah. Fast API is also cool. I've had a look at it, and yeah.
I I I remember I really enjoyed Python right from the start when I started working with it, but then I started trying to package what it was I was working with. And anyway, I I very quickly realized that packaging in Python is like beating yourself to death with a wet trout, because it's not, it's like you can get it working on your machine, but to get it working on anybody else's machine, it's like, especially because I was trying to answer this question before the Python packaging authority was really a thing, and so there was nothing, and by nothing I mean there was 1,000 articles and none of them agreed with each other, and they were all very like specific to one particular project, and they were all kind of going over the river through the woods. And I spent forever trying to figure out how to package a basic Python app, and then I like to tell the story. I built a game. I kind of felt like I had figured that whole thing out, but then I built this game in Kiwi, and I was going to ship it. It only took me about 2 months to do the game, and anyway, but I couldn't package it because Kiwi had this thing where their setup.py file was requiring Python to be installed before, like you had to install it before you could even run the pip install of Kiwi. And apparently no build tools like two-step pip installs. They just won't. You couldn't do it at the same time, and nobody likes that. Like, it broke everything. And I literally had Snapcraft's Alan Pope, one of the lead developers on Kiwi, one of the Debian packaging mentors, and some other chap I dragged in from App Image.
Yeah.
And we were all hammering at this, and literally none of us could get it. I mean, it's bad when Alan Pope is defeated on packaging.
It's very difficult. Like packaging is another, black hole that once you fall in, you never get out. Like it's so difficult. Like especially you have extra dependencies. It's just crazy. I mean, I'm not an expert of that, so I can't comment on it furthermore. But yeah.
Fun story. 12 years ago, I started using Linux because I was fed up with how difficult it was to set up NumPy on my Windows machine. So here I am.
Yeah. Oh god.
Everything's easier in Linux. How often do you run into bugs being reported by users though about packaging?
About packaging, I think, about our package, I mean, like, luckily we have a very good depth of personnel in our team. Like, my colleague Robin, he is amazing. He basically created all these app images as well. So he is an expert, and so he deal with all this craziness. But I think no one really tried to use us as a dependency yet. I think a lot of our users, because we still kind of getting more and more user to adopt, and then a lot of user, they are just like end users. They are just like using our tool to manage a data directly rather than building an app on top of it. So of course, eventually, maybe we could be like, like other databases that could be a backend of an app, but I think we are not there yet. Yeah, there isn't much of like question about, oh, how can I include your tool as a a backend, a dependency that we could package together. But no, well, we don't get those kind of questions. But yeah, but about our own packaging issues, we do have a lot of issues. We test it ourselves. That's why, like, in our team, I am a Mac user, and then we have some colleagues use Linux, some colleagues use Windows, and then we all just like test all the all the images on different OS, like at least the popular ones. So we have all different kind of issues. It's like, oh, how can I like unhook the backend? How can I really code it? Without lots of different issues. But yeah, like, so far so good. We touch wood that we don't have any like devastated things going on, and it all works okay. And then but who knows, when we build more and more features, that it will be more and more challenging. But yeah, luckily we have a team who can handle it. Like, again, I'm not a packaging expert, so I can't really comment more on
Right.
those. But yeah, we do have a very good teammates to deal with that.
It's interesting you mentioned, when you add more features. I think that's one of the things that a lot of developers don't weigh the cost on. I mean, we're always, all of us, I think, are always looking to add more features because it's like, that's feels like we've done something. You fix a bug, and there's, that just kind of gets, it's the end of the video about the new release or whatever, and everyone's like, oh, you fixed some bugs, great, whatever. And it doesn't feel very glamorous, but except for the people affected by the bug. But adding a new feature is like, oh, it's great, it's a big thing. But adding features really does add bugs.
Yeah.
It increases the complexity of the project, and I think sometimes developers don't weigh that cost.
Yeah.
Well, you can always solve that like Google does. Just deprecate whole product.
Yeah, that's another
Please
issue.
don't do that.
Yeah, backward compatibility is another issue that we face a lot, because I think now we're getting more and more stable. But before, when we are at the very fast pace of developing the tool, that a lot of time there's big backward compatibility issue, because a lot of things get changed quite a lot because the product is not stable yet. It's quite new. So yeah, that's always an issue. But yeah, I think if you go to like something that is big, and then you have new feature, and you have to worry about bugs and also compatibilities, and then you can't make everybody happy. Just to put it this way, like, some people will be sad because you deprecated their favorite method or whatever. So yeah, it's tricky. It's like building building a house. If you just build like a one bedroom house, it's like, okay, like that, and then, oh, I want to actually add another bedroom, add a garage, add a loft, and then your house become less stable, I guess, and then you need to really calculate whether you can really build that thing there, because you don't want it to collapse or whatever. So yeah.
And then someone's mad because when you added that bedroom, you had to deprecate that one cabinet to make room for the door,
Yeah.
and that was their favorite cabinet in the whole kitchen.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
no, my cabinet, don't touch it. Like, sorry, mate. Yeah.
want their cake and eat it too, and it's and of course when I say they, I mean we. It's kind of funny, how we switch between kind of the user mindset and the developer mindset. We hit a bug. We were talking about that earlier. We hit a bug in our own project, and it's like I should fix this, and I think it's caused by this thing, and we're very academic, and it's like the little suit and tie, and like I know how to fix this problem, and then we hit a bug in someone else's project. It's like, no, why work? It's the whole approach is very different. Even if we're very patient with it, it's just like, it's not working, and maybe we have time to go dig into it, but a lot of times, I know for me, it's like I don't, and I go in, or I have to say, I hate it when I hit a problem in Pan Newsreader, in that it wouldn't publish anything at all, ever, and so I found the bug, I fixed the bug, created a pull request. A year later, it's still sitting there.
Oh yeah.
It's I finally gave up, and I told a friend of mine, I was like, we're building our own newsreader. Pan is gone.
It's another challenge. Like, even if it's actually quite lucky if someone come in and fix the bug, but like getting that merge in is another challenge. Because like if you have a super big project, you have again 1,001 like pull requests, and what should you do? Like maybe these two pull requests doesn't like each other. Like what should you do? Like I think it's another challenge that in open source that you would have. So
yeah. Although I will say with Pan, when I submitted, it only had I think like 6 pull requests open, and most of them had been open for over a year by that point already. So it's like, okay, well, great.
you can make a fork of that project, and then just don't
yeah.
upstream it
I spent
anymore.
enough time in the code to know I don't want to fork that project.
Yeah.
I don't want that technical debt. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So it's a lot of challenge in open source project. I think having a successful open source product is kind of like having a successful startup. It's like they're unicorns. Like maybe 10 open source projects end up having one that become popular or something. Or even the proportion maybe even like 100 and then only one become popular, things like that. So.
Yeah, and we think, well, if we open source, if you build it, they will come, and that's not necessarily even the case. And one of the benefits of open source is like the project could exist indefinitely, but just because it can doesn't necessarily mean it will, because sometimes the project is very. I've got code that's open source that I really should go back and delete, because it's like, don't use this. I have one project that I wrote, oh my gosh, such a long time ago. It's a 7-layer nested for loop. Don't look it up. Anyway.
Well, I have a project that is basically deprecated as well. Like I have a very old project like a few years ago. I never maintain it anymore. So I think I should put like in capital and then on the top saying like deprecated. This is historical, like only for reference. Don't really use it. But yeah, I
burn it with fire.
But I think like if you are a frequent open source user, the first thing you do is like check the source code and see what's the last time that there's a commit. That's a standard method of doing that, I think. So yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Letting Boyan collect his thoughts there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just enjoying the conversation.
Yeah, how'd that avocado latte work out for you?
Well, it tastes very green, I guess. Yeah, it's very green. It's something strange that like I think next time I can try a coconut coffee. Maybe it's also.
Can you taste the unicorn happiness?
Yeah, I think it makes me happy. I think I feel the effect of it. So yeah.
See, that's our secret ingredient.
Yes.
Oh, I should not have said that.
Well, if that's a secret ingredient, it's okay. Does someone have a neuralizer handy? No one's got any neuralizers, unfortunately. So you're just gonna have to pretend that we did not say that. I'm sorry. Well, it was a lot of fun talking with you about developer advocacy and it's amazing there are so many different kinds of bugs in the world, and we get so familiar with one particular type of bug and one particular approach to bugs, and there's so many different ways of looking at software and how to deal with the bugs that show up, and that's the fun part about talking about it.
Yeah, I think it's good. Like whenever we chat about something that I think we are passionate about, and that's a good thing. And yeah, now especially like I skip. I don't have any more like pub kind of chat anymore. So it's nice to chat with friends, in a virtual setting, I guess.
Yeah, well, or if we find cafes like this. I mean, the anti-coronavirus bubble around the place is wonderful. 'Cause, you can come in, not worry about it. The virus just can't come in with you.
Yeah.
Chuck, it has been wonderful as always. Hopefully, we're gonna have a bunch of conferences in the real world as well, and Corona is gonna go away. It's gonna get deprecated by Google or something.
Yeah. I think I owe you a coffee, so I would buy you one when we met in after the pandemic. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll all wind up at one of these together, and I can, I'll show up with my bow tie, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of chewing on the idea of maybe doing PyCon Germany one of these days.
Yeah.
Got more than a few friends who are like, come to Germany.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I just might.
Yeah. We'll have more than coffee then. Like Germany, we can have lots of good food and beer, I guess.
Give me German pretzels.
Yummy.
Chuck, before we finish, you
Right.
need to explain to people the best kind of sprint.
The
Ice
best
cream sprint.
Yes, ice cream sprint is the thing, and I actually have people ask me like, "Oh, what are we going to work on an ice cream sprint?" I would say that, well, we just run very fast, before the next talk started, and go to an ice cream shop and buy an ice cream and eat it before the next talk started, and that's it. You have to work your leg muscles, I guess. Yeah.
That sounds like an absolute blast. I look forward to doing one of those.
Yeah, we can do one if we met in Germany, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Right, well, I better probably help start picking up these apples and oranges and whatnot that have been falling all over the place while we've been talking. So.
Yeah, enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah, I better find a helmet.
Right. Okay.
Bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Bug Hunters Cafe. This is Marta. Yes, we are located online at bughunters.cafe and on Twitter and Zev as Bug Hunters Cafe. You can, but I recommend an umbrella today. Or maybe a helmet. Our music is provided by audionautics.com. We have the link on our website. We have a special on guacamole today, with extra garlic, apparently. Absolutely. See you soon. Well, you know what they say. If life gives you lemons... Sorry.